call to order the Stephenville Town Council meeting agenda for Thursday, August 22nd, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. Janelle, would you please take the roll call?
Councilor Barker. Here. Councilor Brown. Here. Councilor Nelson.
Here.
Councilor Smith.
Here.
And Mayor Michelson.
Here, would you all please stand for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll move to item number 3, public comments. These are public comments from citizens on items that are not on the agenda. You can step forward and please state your name and address, please.
Larry Schaff, 1417 Creekside Drive. And actually, I got 3 items that I'd like to see if I can find something out on. First is a point of contact for the 2021 preliminary engineering report on water. Kind of follows the meeting you had on water. I've got some questions on that.
Preliminary,
Preliminary engineering report done by HDR,
For which year, sir?
2021. And one question concerning that is where is the Y? I've only lived here a year.
what's that?
Where's the Y?
That's out at the highway.
On the east side of
Up there by
93?
Super One.
Okay. Second one is water rights. My HOA says that the city has decided, or somebody has told the city no one can have water rights.
We do not have water rights at this time we're working on.
Well, I mean, when I bought my house, I got water rights with that house, and there are 7 other people in that development.
That's because you're inside the place of use.
Okay,
No.
okay, so I
Even at
can,
that time, Creekside, I won't get into it. Yes,
okay,
inside the place of use, or outside the place of use, like Burnt Oak Estates. Yeah.
Okay.
You're outside.
that was the answer I was looking for, because I was told we can't have it.
Yep.
So I guess I can. And then the third thing is I'd like to know how the board feels about the Bell Crossing roundabout.
Well, this is public comments. If you could send an email to the council members and ask them that.
Okay,
Because we shouldn't be going back and forth on public.
real good, okay. Thank you.
Okay, yep, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Scott Butler. I live at 210 Church Street here in Stevensville. Last year, when I applied for the position of mayor, I spoke of the concept of my town, our town, and what that concept meant. Hopefully, during that presentation, I was able to develop and elaborate on some points of what I thought that meant to be a member of our town, my town. One of those points is you must speak up when you see great wrong. And I'm here tonight about the water issue. That was put through willy-nilly with one meeting. The public was not informed much beforehand. We have not seen any substantiation of the need for that increase in water. That's approximately a $720 a year increase in water rates on the citizens of this town. Supposedly, there was a report by an auditor that we either had to raise rates or default on the bond. I have not seen that report. Has anyone seen that report? We're not here to take the word of people who supposedly heard that statement. No credible CPA or auditor would make a statement like that with the severity of a possible default without backing it up with written justification, and he would sign his name to it. I am not sure about the budgeting procedures in this town. I am not sure that anyone on this town council has any accounting background to understand how to put together a set of working papers to develop an income statement, a balance sheet, and a cash flow statement. I think the citizens of this town have a right to know if you do. What is your level of accounting expertise? Where is the documentation? Where is the justification? Where is the budget? Do we have a budget for this year? What are our projected revenues, projected expenses? Do we know that? Before you can just impose willy-nilly a $720 increase on water and sewer rates over what is already, as Councilman Smith has found, some of the highest water rates in the state. And I think if you will look further, you'll find that our water rates at $100 and some a month will be some of the highest water rates in the country, especially for a town this size. This should be tabled and brought back up for discussion. And if this is not, I think you're going to find I speak for a good many members of this town, and we should think about recall petitions based upon two things: either indifference and incompetence to the citizens of this town, or possibly much more severe malfeasance in office. I think we need a forensic audit of this town to find out exactly what is happening in our budget and where this money is going. If things are, does anybody here know what GAAP is? GAAP, as it's called in the accounting profession. Generally accepted accounting principles. Are we adhering to those in our budgetary processes and in the financial accounting of this town? That's all I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Scotty. Any other comments from the public on anything not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 4, approval of minutes. Item A, town council meeting minutes of 7/25/24. Could I entertain a motion, please? Councilmember Barker.
I make a motion for town council meeting minutes approvals for 7/25/2024.
We have a motion by Councilmember Barker. Do we have a second? Councilmember Nelson.
I second that.
We have a motion, we have a second. Do we have a discussion from the council on the minutes? Discussion from the public on the minutes? Seeing none, Janelle, would you take the vote?
Councilor Barker? Aye. Councilor Brown? Aye. Councilor Nelson?
Aye.
And Councilor Smith?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Thank you. Item number B, budget workshop meeting minutes of 8/7/24. Entertain a motion, please. Councilmember Nelson.
I make a motion that we approve the budget workshop meeting minutes of 8/7/2024.
We have a motion by Councilmember Nelson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Smith, we have a motion and a second. Do we have a discussion on the budget workshop minutes? Discussion from the public on the budget workshop minutes. Seeing none, Janelle, would you take the vote, please?
Councilor Barker? Aye. Councilor Brown? Aye. Councilor Nelson?
Aye.
And Councilor Smith?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Thank you. Item number C, budget workshop meeting minutes of 8/13/2024. Can I entertain a motion, please? Councilmember Barker.
I make a motion to approve budget workshop meetings minutes from 8/13/2024.
We have a motion by Councilmember Barker. Do we have a second? Councilmember Smith has seconded. Do we have a discussion on the council on the last minutes? Item C. Any comments from the public? Seeing none, Janelle, would you take the vote, please?
Councilor Barker? Aye. Councilor Brown? Aye. Councilor Nelson?
Abstain.
And Councilor Smith?
Aye.
Council, you abstained, you said aye? Aye. Okay, motion passes 3-1, one abstain. Thank you. Item number 5, approval of biweekly claims. Can I entertain a motion, please? Councilmember Smith.
I move that we adopt claims number 19125 and 19143 through 19178.
We have a motion by Councilmember Smith. Do we have a second? Councilmember Barker.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Do we have a discussion from the council on the claims? Councilmember Brown.
Claim 19147 for the lifeguard certification. Is that for a year or just for a few months?
No, it's for the certification for the lifeguards, and I believe it's 2 years.
2 years? Thank you, that's the question I had.
Councilmember Brown.
Claim number 19154 for HDR Engineering, for $9,645. Which project is that for?
It's for the water project. So right underneath that, it says Stevensville Water Project, and so that's the ARPA project.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, and then the other ones will say like Spring Street or Mill Road.
Okay, that's what I didn't have.
Councilmember Nelson.
I had a question under 19143, date 8/5/24, sewer treatment plant for $3,262.
That's the Northwestern Energy bill. That's just,
Oh,
19143 is all of our claims
All
for
our-
the Northwestern Energy.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Brown.
Claim number 19156 for the airport, the AWAS system. Is that up and running now? And at one time, I think the airport manager said that part of that bill was going to be written off.
No,
No,
No luck.
no luck.
Is it up and running?
to my understanding, yes.
Councilmember Brown.
I noticed we have two claims for, one of them is 19172 for the fall courses for the judicial system. Are they going to be carpooling together, so we only have one claim on?
Probably not,
I think they're two separate times,
because they're different days.
different days.
Okay.
Any other comments from the council on the claims? Seeing none, any comments from the public on the claims? Seeing none, Janelle, would you please take the vote?
Councilmember Barker,
Aye.
Councilmember Brown,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
and Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Thank you. We'll move on to item number 6, new business. Item A, discussion decision, form a committee regarding Berta Farms. This came up at the last meeting. We formed that when Pat and Lori and Mel came here and discussed their basic displeasure that we haven't been able to get going on that. One, we don't have the money in our budget. Yeah, we could rate it now, and then down the line, the taxes that we collect off it would pay for that, but the money is so tight this year, it's really tight, and you'll see when we discuss the minutes. Yeah, the only thing that I can think of, and I've talked with my public works director, Steve, if things start slowing down in September, that we're gonna take a day a week and go over there with the dump truck, whatever it is, mow, start cleaning it up. Because that's all we can do. And as far as the building, when John gets back from his training in Helena, he is going to go around and he's going to interview you guys on a certain person living there, and he's gonna take that down, and I think that holds more water than just Janelle emailing down there to the health department or me calling down there. So with that, I could open it up for discussion from the council. The committee, I would definitely be on it. I would recommend a council member be on it, if that would be okay, Councilmember Brown.
I will volunteer.
Okay, we have a council member, we have me, I know Pat, Lori probably wants to be on it. And as far as meetings, we could set up a meeting that works around all your guys' schedule and get going and get some plans going as far as dates and that, when we can start doing the cleanup. Because I think probably with you guys, that would, get us off our butt too to get going, so. With that, we could open it up for discussion for Pat and Lori. You want any ideas?
Motion.
Oh,
I would like to make motion for approval to form a committee regarding River Farms.
we have a motion by Councilmember Barker, do we have a second?
I second that.
We have a motion, we have a second by Councilmember Nelson. Any further discussion on the council?
I just think we're getting a little more ahead in it. I know that there's understanding that it needs to be cleaned up and that we're getting the threats of the town's responsibility for it. I have driven by there a little bit and they have started cleaning up. I know that they've been cited for it as well. I commend them for starting to do some things, but again, it's not fast enough. I'm sorry. But I don't know. I just, the resources that we have right now are tough.
Any other comments from the public on the committee for Berta Farms? We'll open it up to,
What's Berta Farms?
Berta Farm is a LLC. Well, Pat and Lori can tell you more about it than I can, but
Berta Farms is to be blunt, a shell corporation that is hidden from all and has no obligations to do a damn thing in the world. And what that means is, and not to be blunt, he's lived there for 30 years. And are you familiar with the property?
No, I don't know anything.
We're straight up Third Street, as it curves to the school, that beautiful knitted mess on the right-hand side. And it sparkles at night, so we've lived there for many, many years, myself, and Lloyd, and Mel Cook, and we've seen it. I watched the house that was on there, Victoria home, years ago, 1990. He tore down and leveled, he's living in the basement. It's a mess. There's dead animals everywhere. There's chemicals everywhere. There's a brush fire hazard everywhere. It's time to clean it up. Loey and Mel Cook, Loey Knapp and Mel Cook, sued, and the judgment was for the town to clean it up. So
By April.
by April, not next April or year 2050. It's last April they were supposed to have it done. I totally understand that the town is shorthanded and short time as far as funds and what have you. So that's why I come in so many times, and I live right there to it too. I look at it every day, wave at the animals. It has to be done. It's a hazard. It's unsafe, and something needs to be done. So I'm willing to help the town individually as a whole. The mayor's been awesome with it. Janelle, everybody, wonderful. You're absolutely right. He's cleaning it up from one spot to another. You don't drive it every day, and we've known each other for years. That place is a joke. It's a mess. It's a hazard. It's everything and above. And he's a manipulator by taking one pile and putting it to the other. One pile and putting it to the other. I've watched it. And you have to have a beer watching because it's that damn funny. I mean, so it's out of control. We have to help. It's a hazard. The brush, the weeds, everything, the structures that are there, the little ones. If it catches fire, my house is going, Susan's house is going, and probably right on over to your neighborhood because it's going to go across the field. It's time. Yes, money's a problem, but there's other ways we can get some funds. That's what the committee's for, so we can talk freely and come with ideas without being chastised by the pulpit or whatever. We can do the work for you behind the scenes and get it done and present it to the council for vote. So you don't have to worry about the hassle of another committee for you folks. Let us do it for you and the legwork, be informed, have your approval, have your guidance, and let's clean this thing up before the next blizzard. Thank you for listening and understanding, but it's time.
Any other comments from the public on
There
Bert?
does need to be somebody from the council on that committee.
Cindy,
Yeah.
You said she would.
And on that note too, I'd like to sit down with you for good mayor in the next day or so to find out how we're supposed to present and what we're supposed to do and what we can and cannot do to make this thing bulletproof, precise, and honest. And so educate me, which good luck with that, but I'm gonna try for you. And we can bring it to where we can have our meetings and then come to a council meeting, well notified, what have you, to present. And I appreciate council for being on it, appreciate you being on it. Whatever it takes, whatever we gotta do, and however we have to do it, professionally and legally, needs to be done. And I understand there's money, there's some other ways that I've got some ideas, and when that time comes, I'll share it.
any other comments from the public on Bert? Any further comments from the council on Bert? Seeing none, Janelle, would you please take the vote?
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Barker,
Aye.
Councilmember Brown,
Aye.
and Councilmember Nelson.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Item number B, discussion decision, rental properties to continue paying for 2 water meters. As you guys can see, Mrs. Renfro came and talked to me, a month or so ago back and told me her situation. I told her I did not have the authority to grant that she wanted. And I said it had to come before the council, so I told her I would, and here we are. So, yes, she's there. Would the council like to have her get up and talk first, or would you like to do a motion?
Do a motion.
Okay, can I entertain a motion, please? Councilmember Barker.
I make a motion to approve Renfro Properties to continue paying for 2 water meters.
We have a motion by Councilmember Barker. Do we have a second? Councilmember Smith, there's a second. We have a discussion from the council on the water meters. Councilmember Barker.
I guess my one question then, after reading a lot of the different information that she's provided as well, is why she was the only one around the area that was told to put 2 different meters in as opposed to the other surrounding homes and that. I guess I'm confused on who sent her in that direction.
I can tell you.
I would say it was Bruce Parks.
Yeah.
Bruce Parks.
And what was the reasoning behind that?
The reason,
Shut off.
the reason behind that was he said we had to put 1 meter per family unit on the duplexes because the town wanted each tenant to pay their water bill separate. And we could not get a building permit, and the building inspector was there also at the same time with my husband and I. And we met on the lots, and they said that we had to do it that way. But then when I came in to get my certificate of occupancy and the duplexes were built, I said, I'm gonna set up the accounts for each tenant, and they said, oh no, you're gonna pay all the utilities on this. And I said, well, that's why we were told to put 4 meters. And they said, no, you have to pay all the utilities, so it doesn't matter if it's on 1 or 4 meters. Well, then I start getting charged 4 base rates on 3/4 inch lines instead of 2. Whereas the fourplexes are charged 1 base rate, although they are on a 1 inch line, but that put considerably more pressure on us to pay more money. So it was the building inspector and Bruce Parks that told us we had to have 1 meter per family unit.
And this is the 4-plex that's down close to you.
Duplexes across from them.
But our duplexes are across from the mayor. And they said that every other buildings that were going up there were being set up the same way as ours. And then we found out that wasn't true. Nobody else had a meter on every family unit.
I don't think all the other people around you for what their meters are being, they're being charged, I don't think is relative to your point. Your point is you've got 4 meters and are only being charged for 2.
That's what we came up with the town in 2003 and 2004. And I think that was the fairest thing the town could do.
At that time.
Yes. And they agreed with me because, well, I have a little presentation. Would you like me to give it to you?
Yes, go ahead.
I handed it out.
Go ahead and read it into the record.
Maybe I'll just clear it up. I'm Sharon Renfro. I was last here on October 27th, 2003 to discuss the number of meters that we were required to put on our duplexes at 211 and 215 and 219 and 221 Turner Street when we built them in 2000. We met at the lots with 2 town officials, the building inspector and the utility person, who both told us to put 4 meters, 1 per family, so the town could shut off any renter who did not pay their utility bills without inconveniencing any other tenants. So we built these duplexes, with 4 meters like we were told, but when I went to the town to set up the accounts for our tenants to be, the town told me, no, we want the owner to pay the utilities, and the town will bill me directly, thus negating the need for those extra meters. The 4-plex across the street had only 1 meter on a 1-inch line, so did several other 4-plexes on our street. So they had 1 base rate on a 1-inch line, where we had 4 base rates on a 3/4-inch line, which added up to much more for our 4 family units than it did for their 4 family units. So I was told to come to the town council meeting on October 27, 2003 to put this to a vote, which I did. And I thought that this issue was solved in that I soon started getting charged for 2 meters base rates with the water from the other 2 meters added back in to reflect usage. Being charged for 2 3/4-inch lines as base rates instead of 1 1-inch line base rate was still higher for us, but we felt that this was fair, a solution as the town could do, and we agreed. I have attached the minutes of the October 27, 2003 meeting where it states that this issue will be taken under advisement until the council could further research it. So I thought there was nothing further for me to do, and I started getting correspondence from the town proving that they had been working on the issue. On February 2nd, 2004, I got 2 notes from the town of Stevensville signed by Donna stating that we, quote, deactivated 2 of your 4 accounts and they would combine water from the meters at both sides of each duplex to get water charges. And on 2/13/2004, I received a call from Nancy from the town of Stevensville saying that they were charging only these 2 meters at the 3/4-inch line base rates since that's what they were, and I agreed. Then on 10/27/05, I got another note from the town of Stevensville signed by Sandy saying that they went through the system again and believe we have it all correct again, and after this, you should receive only 2 bills with a combined water for each. And this is how it has been since 2005. So I thought everything was fine. So if these 3 clerks were using "we" in their correspondences to me, they must have been conferring with somebody else in the town offices. This someone else also believed the issue was resolved, and that was how they figured out how to do it. Again, I agreed. Forward to mid-July 2024, I get a call from the town of Stevensville, Deputy Clerk Andrina Case, that since none of the aforementioned correspondence or activities over the past 11 years had ever been voted on by the town council, then she had to start charging me for 4 base rates along with water usage. So that nothing the town of Stevensville or I had agreed to over these 11 years was valid. So on Monday, July 29th, 2024, I submitted all the paperwork I had to Mayor Michelson. Is it Michelson? And he encouraged me to again bring this issue to you. Please inform me on what else I have to do to bring this October 27th, 2003 issue to a vote. And would you make this vote retroactive so that it encompasses the new bills I got that are now due 8/25/24? Thank you.
So, after 23 years of research, looks like we finally found this. I will have to say that our deputy clerk, Andrea Case, is amazing. This lady she's doing, I mean, how many water clerks have went through and she found this,
Yeah, no kidding.
you know, to her credit. And I will tell you, I did not have the authority, and all through the years, whether it was Sandy, Nancy, whatever, the proper way, they should have brought it before the council like we're doing tonight for a vote. That's what you do in water bills. I don't have the authority, Sandy didn't, and Trina doesn't, Janelle, none of us have the authority to grant you this, but the council, they're the governing body. So, that's why we're here.
Okay. Any questions?
Any questions you want to ask her about the bill? Mr. Smith?
Are your units fully occupied?
Yes.
Any of them occupied by family members?
Mine, no. They never have been occupied by any family members.
Councilmember Brown?
So they are paying for the correct amount of usage, correct?
Yes.
Andrina's billing them now for 4 meters instead of 2. And that's why she's here, because she,
Okay, but when on the 2, were they only calculating the usage from the 2 units? Or was it on all 4 units and they were combining the bills?
So on one of her homes with the 2 units, there's the 2 meters, and the one was calculating it at the base rate of 83.44.
Right.
Anything that was over the base rate of the 3,000 gallons was then being calculated and being charged to the second meter. That's how we understood that. Does that sound right to you?
Essentially, yes.
Yeah, so the
Yes.
only.
So instead of 2 base
2 base
rates,
rates, there was
I'm getting 1 base rate, but the usage for both, yes.
But the usage for both. And then the next unit, same thing. 2 meters, 1 meter being charged the base rate, the second meter being charged any overages over the 3,000 gallons that the 2 units went over on. Does that make sense?
it's a funky deal.
It's weird, I know. We laid it out on paper and
Sounds like a
then
mess.
we called you to like, what is going on here? So yeah, it's different, yeah.
Councilmember Brown?
I thought we had an ordinance also in place that if any home that goes through sale that doesn't have any meters, that they are required to put meters on them.
But we have meters.
Each unit does have
Yeah,
its
each
own
meter.
meter.
So if we're making single-family places put meters on and activate them, I guess that's my point.
So you're saying you do one, you should do all.
I don't get the question. What are you saying?
There was an ordinance by the town several years ago when they upgraded the water and sewer plant, that any homes in the town that were still running without water meter, that when they sold, they would have to put in a water meter and be charged from that time on any single family units.
That makes sense.
So they should be charged for just one, is that what you're saying?
No, we have that ordinance in place, or resolution, I should say, that when, even if it's single family and they're running on the old system, they must put in a meter now and be charged what everyone else is.
But we do have meters on all of them from the day they were built.
But they're not being read, correct?
Yes, they
They're being
are.
read,
They're
they're
being
being
read.
read just fine,
They're charging 1 meter
base rate.
base rate, the other meter for the over usage.
So instead
So
of
they should-
each unit having a 3,000 gallon and a 3,000 gallon usage, the two units share 3,000 gallons. And when it goes over the 3,000 gallons, the second meter or the other meter is then being charged for the overages over those 3,000 gallons. But with one base rate. But with one base rate.
Instead of two base rates.
Instead of two base rates.
And if we had been told when we built them to begin with, we would have only had 1 meter on each duplex. So we would have had one base rate and the usage charged together, just like the town has been doing since 2005.
So if this family doesn't use the 3,000 gallons, this unit's being charged for the excess, is that correct?
No, I'm paying everything. The town doesn't charge them separately. I have to pay the utility bills.
It's not being divided into
4.
4 tenants. It's just being divided as 2 bills, and she's the only person that's paying on those bills. She doesn't put that back to her renter. So
She's gonna be paying base rate for 2 meters instead of 4, that's the bottom.
But they're paying for all the usage.
Yes.
Yes, oh yeah.
Yep.
She pays
meters
all the
work
usage.
fine, they register fine.
The bottom-
It's a complicated mess.
I said, the bottom line is, whatever deal was made back then, or everybody who just got shoved under the rug through the years, if you look at all the minutes. And now, and Rena says, wait, you got 4 meters?
And
That's
as
4
we've
base
been,
rates.
and she's been doing extensive audits on all of the meters, as we've been fixing them, 0 reads and things like that. And then these 4 meters came up as, well, why is only one maybe $9 and one's $83.44, and one's $6 and
So they
one's
should all be the same
Well,
rate.
4 meters, 4 base rates.
Right.
And that's what Andrea started to do, correct? Yep. Because
Now, I've got the new bills that are almost double what I've been paying. And that's before the new rates. Whereas a fourplex across the street has only got 1 meter and 1 base rate on a 1-inch line versus 4 meters at a base rate on 3/4-inch line. So I'm paying considerably more for 4 families.
What a mess.
Yes, no kidding. If we could go back to just putting in 2 meters and just paying 1 base rate and going from there, we would, but it's too much of a financial mess to do it now.
I guess my question is, how do you sift through this when it's like that?
it's a-
They've been doing it for 11 years.
it still bills correctly, but our system still sees it as
It's for,
4 3/4-inch lines. And all the papers that we could come across and pulled for you in minutes and nothing that came up for an entire year.
Yeah, it
was never brought
voted
back.
on. It never came before council.
Right, they never brought it back, so then, as she read, and we never found any notes or anything made by,
I mean, I think,
I have copies of the notes written by Sandy and Donna. saying what they were doing.
Right.
And they were talking, and she was talking, saying, we have decided to do it this way. Well, it's not just her, it's somebody else in the town office. I don't know, a utility person or what, but that's how they decided to do it.
The only we that counts is the council. They're the ones that should have. But it never came before a council agenda. We just discussed it and it just, what happened through the years, it just, audits, whatever, and it just kept sweeping under the table.
So we're asking for 1 unit or 1 per unit, correct?
One meter per duplex, yes. And then add the usage off the other meter back in, so that I'm paying for the usage.
It's confusing because I tried to sift through it on my mind and
The simplest I can think of is 4 base rates or 2. Because if she has to pay for 4 meters, then like she said, then she's gotta pay a heck of a lot more.
And had we been told we could put in 1 meter per duplex, that's what we would have done, because it would have been cheaper for us. But no, they insisted that I could not get a building permit until I could put in 2 meters on each duplex.
so is this the only one that we're having issues with on just the way it's set up right now? Nobody else, everybody else is set up when you have duplexes
Because
as
of
1 unit.
whatever was decided at that time, 2003,
Three.
that building inspector.
No, that was in
decided
2000 when I met with them,
2000,
yes.
Right, so then, one side of the street, they said 4 meters for 2 duplexes, and on the other side of the street, they said 1 meter for 1 inch, and we don't know why. We can't find anything to why that was decided that way.
Well,
So how do you-
It's because they went from all the families are gonna pay their own thing to no, the tenants are gonna pay the water, sewer,
Yeah, and then I'm stuck with 4 meters instead of 2. Whereas when we were planning on paying the utilities to begin with, we were gonna put in 1 meter per duplex, and we're gonna pay it.
No, I think I understand that. I believe I have it wrapped around my head. I think it's silly.
Are you one of these?
I'm questioning it there, yeah.
Okay, but you are staying there.
Yeah.
Any other comments from the council? How would you like to proceed? Vote on it?
Well, we need to open it up to the
Public for
Okay,
discussion.
well,
Okay.
Mr. Cloninger has a
Yeah.
comment.
Did you have a?
Go ahead, Pat.
I can't remember, but what's the other duplexes and multi-living units going on, like over on Barber Street?
I don't know about Barber Street.
This is Turner we're talking about where I live.
But there's others, how's that have you handled?
They're on a 1-inch line, all 4 units, and they pay 1 base rate for a 1-inch line, which is a little higher than the base rate on a 3/4 line. But now the new clerk is wanting me to pay 4 base rates on 3/4 inch lines. Where currently I'm paying 2 base rates on 3/4 inch lines and then adding the water usage back from the other meter.
So does her scenario affect others that are not going in the same path which you want to go? Because if you make her do it, wouldn't you have to make everybody do it?
I don't think there is any.
No, I don't think there's anybody else that's on
Can't find
that
anybody else with
situation.
this scenario.
Everybody else is on 1-inch line.
Yeah.
1 meter.
I'll shut up.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Well, she should be the same as all the others then. That wouldn't be fair. I mean,
No, I mean, correct, I mean, we could go back, and it doesn't, reading the minutes and everything, it sounds like it started with Bruce Parks, and he basically told her this is what we should do.
Right.
And she said, okay, let's do it, he did it,
And the building inspector was there too.
yes.
So we figured they knew what they were talking about. But then it was like 6 months later, I came down here to sign my tenants up for their meters and everything, and the town told me, no, I have to pay everything. They weren't gonna separate them out, and I understand the town's position because they don't wanna be screwing around with every tenant as they're moving in and out.
Mhm.
So I understood that, but then why did I have to put in 4 meters?
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
I can't answer that, of course, I wasn't here, but.
So can the council cut those meters back to 1 meter per household for her and just let it add on the water if it's extra? I mean, why can't we take out 2 meters? We can put them in. Why
that's
can't we
kind
take
of
'em
what
out?
they've been doing for 11 years. Yeah.
So, but if you had 1 meter for each duplex,
Right.
rather than 2.
Right, that's what they're doing.
They have the water.
I'm not arguing with what they're doing now. I'm arguing with what the new clerk wants to do, and since I have 4 meters, she wants to charge me 4 base rates.
Well, she's just doing her job.
She's, yeah.
It's not on this front, it's actually just on our policy.
Pat,
Here's the thing that I'm concerned about, and I don't mean to ruffle any feathers on your part, but if there's 4 individuals out there that are fighting to pay the bills and what have you, and a deal has been given on this without the right way and explanation, without going through the proper channels of other towns and what they do, at least to get some backing of what you're thinking about doing, it could end up to be unfair to another resident solely. And again, I'm not trying to sabotage your request. It's just that if it doesn't turn out the way it benefits everybody, it's political suicide, but you guys are used to that, so.
It won't affect anybody else because nobody else is in my situation.
Yeah.
I'm the only one.
So it won't set a standard different from everybody's?
I was the only one told to put in 1 meter per family unit, and we did it because we couldn't get a building permit without it.
You know, Bruce Parks still lives in town, you don't hold him. Shoot him out.
he would say, run it by the council, probably.
I just think she should be treated the same as all the other duplexes, you know, be billed the same way, it's fair.
With 2 meters. Yeah.
So what would be the process to take away those 2 other meters and just be on the one?
You know, 1 meter on each house.
It's the changing of the pipe size, and then it would be a 1-inch meter.
You'd have to go to a 1-inch line. for
Would be
1 meter.
back on.
On her top of
to
money.
fix that piece.
Yeah.
That'd be a whole lot of money.
But she's still paying a whole lot of money for what she's doing right now.
Well, if we went back to what we've been doing over the last 11 years, I've been happy with that. But not being charged for 4 meters,
So what they were doing
4
is-
base
Or
rates.
just take out 2 base rates. That's it.
In other words, leave as is.
And then just charge her 2 base rates.
Well, that's what they're doing now, 2 base rates instead of 4.
But the last bill I got
Right,
was
and
for
Rena went to 4 because she's only doing her job.
So every line that, for every line that is hooked up to that, it is, you're being charged for it, which
Right
is,
now, she did job.
Which that is Andrea's job to do, and she's doing what she's supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And she's done a great job with getting everything
Yeah.
back where we need to be, but again, it's a tough.
Well, she brought it to me. And then a day later, she showed up.
Well, yeah, I understand, I would be upset too, be charged one rate and then all of a sudden you have 2 extra rates on top of that, I understand that. I just don't understand why it was, obviously you don't understand why it was done the way it was.
Councilmember.
So she goes to the 4 meters. Wouldn't each duplex get their 3,000 gallons?
Yes.
Mhm.
And right now it's 3,000 gallons for the 2 units together.
That's how it's been built.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Craig,
Possibly a motion by the council that they would continue the billing as they have for the previous 11 years and then vote on it, and then that would answer Andrew's question.
yes, that's in the motion itself already, Craig. Continue to pay for 2 meetings. Any other comments from gentlemen? Go ahead.
I just had a question. If there's no water that's not being paid for, right? If we go, Missouri, it's not like there's water being used that's not being accounted for. It's just the same.
Right, it's being paid.
Yeah.
Any more comments? Okay, council like to take a vote? Janelle?
Councilmember Brown?
No.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson?
Abstain.
And Councilmember Barker?
So just one, question, so she's got 4 units and she's only paying 2, she has 2 water meters.
I have 4 water
She has four
meters.
water meters.
And I'm paying 2 base rates. And then the water off the other 2 meters, yes. So all the water is being charged.
Her meters work and they do calculate correctly.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 2-1 with 1 abstaining.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you. That was a tough one. Moving on to item number C, discussion decision, parking zone on Park Avenue and correct signage. So Officer Marble and the other officer came in and told Janelle that up by the school, they had, this isn't the first time it's happened before, correct? The homeowner said that people are parking across the street and are blocking his driveway. So they did some vetting and they went over to the school and they asked if anybody, how long the signs were up, who put them up, blah, blah, and it's worded around the school that some janitors years ago stuck those signs up, no parking area from 2 to 4, whatever, on utility poles, which is against the law to start. So that pretty much is a red flag saying that it was never brought before the council. So to make it right, because he came in and says the homeowner wants the cars moved, he could cite the people to move their cars, but once it came down here, wouldn't be able to enforce it because 1, it didn't come before the council, and 2, they're on utility poles. So that's why we put it on the agenda for you tonight, and by voting yes, we'll instead take them off the utility poles and put the signs up regular street signs, so they'll be, that would be easier to enforce. Also, we could have Steve paint a yellow strip along the curb if you wanted to do that. That's another option. No parking. Yes, Councilman Smith.
Okay, we are talking across the street from the school.
Yes,
Okay, now I went there today.
Need a motion.
well, we can make a motion in a second.
Yes. Yeah, we need to do that.
We need to make a motion before we discuss.
Okay. You get a motion, please. Councilmember Nelson.
I make a motion. Sorry. I make a motion that we, change the signing for the parking zone on Park Avenue to the correct signage.
We have a motion by Councilmember Nelson, do we have a second? Councilmember
I'll
Parker.
second the motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. Do we have any further discussion?
Oh, now I'm on. As I said, I went there today, and the only signs that I saw were do not park here from 4 to 8 to 4, something like that. And it wasn't on a utility pole. These were on green poles, regular signage.
No. I go get the phone.
I knew I should have taken a picture.
No, they're on utility poles. I got it on my phone. I can show you the picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, at least we're talking the same signs.
Well.
Yeah. All right.
Our police officer, Joe Marvel's the one that basically said they're on utility poles and he didn't think he could enforce them. So, Councilmember Brown.
To kind of make it a little bit clearer for Councilmember Smith, I think there's more than one set of
There's-
signs up
yeah,
there at
yeah.
the school. And I do believe, yes, I remember seeing them on the utility poles up in that area.
There's also one on the utility pole called no loading zone.
Yes.
Right across the street, just before you go down Fifth Avenue. So maybe we should maybe add that to this and have that step on the street. So that's a.
Well, basically, this
pretty
was
old
done by
sign.
the school. Yeah.
So
Mhm. Okay.
it's an enforceable issue. They can't enforce it because of its temper.
So there's no right of way or anything like that, that's
No,
street
it's
right?
it's going into a property owner's yard where the curb goes down. But he calls all the time because people get in a hurry, they drop off their kids, or they're running to the school and something happens and their car's blocking his, he can't get out. Got the two signs on each side. that says
But they're
no
still
parking.
not, yeah, so
Right.
they're not enforcing, not following what is there.
Right.
And there's no way to really enforce it because.
Well, the
we don't
sign
have
is sticking this
that-
way.
Well,
the
yeah,
Sign should be sticking this way.
Mhm.
So when they're pulling up, unless you're looking to the west, you can't see the sign.
So we're just advocating to post them correctly.
Correct signage, more visible, and it's more enforceable. And now that it's gone through the council, our judge will be able to enforce it for a ticket.
Sure.
So that's the bottom line. Any more comments from the council? Any comments from the public on the signs at the school?
I'm Matt Swiley. I'm the homeowner,
There you
okay? Like us down here. The people they are aware of the signs. When I've gone out and mentioned to the people, you realize there's a sign there, they get really upset with me and, and it's truly a safety issue. By definition, it's a grade school. They're the youngest kids there. We don't want them running across that street at the end of school. There's a really nice pickup area at the end of the grade school, where they could safely do that. So, and then the other thing is the people, like you said, that are late, they're thinking I'm only gonna be parked there for a minute. They leave their car, they're in the school, they're talking to somebody for 15, 20 minutes before they come back out. So, yeah, but really it boils down to, it's more of a safety issue for the kids than anything. It's truly at the heart of it.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public? Pat?
Since you're in the mood of putting things on this agenda item, along the signage is speed limits. That road is a racetrack, and these kids are proud of these new mufflers they're getting on their trucks. It's a mess. So with not only the signage, you got mileage as far as how fast they're going, speed limits. But why not just make it tollways immediate? Instead of do not park, paint the road, make the school paint the road, because there's a cause of the problem. Make them paint the road, no parking at all, and enforce it that way, it's a tow. Pay for by the people. That's common.
Any other comments? Any comments from the council?
Is this something, obviously, I do agree with Pat's suggestion on that towaway zone. See if maybe this, correct the problem first and see if it if you can,
Yeah, you can always come back and
And
you
then-
can make it a no parking zone.
see if we can't, get the correction of it. And if it does continue, he can come in and say, Lance can say, hey, it's still a continued problem. We can come back, we can go ahead and go further with it. But I think start here first and then move forward and see what happens.
That's reasonable. I had come and talked to the police chief last year about it. You know, he came out, parked in my driveway, observed what was going on. I was gonna wait another week or two to see how I was gonna handle it this year before I brought it up to city council.
And obviously it's gonna be a busy time when the kids start school next week.
Oh, yeah.
I think having the police presence there, giving them a warning saying, hey, it is posted here. If it continues, citations.
Right. And the enforcement now at the beginning of the year, I think is critical. You know, it'll probably need to be reinforced in a month because people are gonna see nobody's getting popped for a couple of weeks and they'll just start doing it again.
But I think we should start with this process with signage, make sure that it's
Yep.
properly signed the way it should be. And then if it does continue to be a problem, we can come back and say, nope, we're gonna go ahead and put towaways on.
Sure. The first one, him, or please be the first one to let us know. Councilmember Nash.
Don't we have a liaison officer at the school as well?
No, that's our officer.
Oh,
That was Cassie.
yeah,
Or,
Well,
yeah,
We do, but he's at 50.
right, and train, right.
No further comments? Seeing none, Janelle, would you please take the vote?
Councilmember Barker?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Councilmember Brown? Aye. And Councilmember Nelson.
aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Thank you. We'll move on to discussion number D, discussion decision, resolution number 553, a resolution establishing mill levies for the town of Stevensville fiscal year 24-25. So you got before you the mill levies that we got from the county. And on your desk there, I gave you guys copies of the mill levies that were passed last year. So if you see that last year, it was 63 mills for 356,130. And this year we got 72.67 mills, which is 369,522. So we got an increase of $13,392. That isn't much to spread around in the general fund to pay away. Well, we're not gonna be probably doing any increases this year, like everything else. That's why the budget is so tight this year. I mean, it is really tight. And we're not alone. Robert did some checking, and I think with a bill rate. Bill rate, they went and passed their budget, and they thought their revenues would be much higher on theirs. And when they got their revenue estimates, they're like, oh, now what do we do? So I just wanted to let you know that we didn't get, Robert says we got a little less than what we anticipated, but it's in the ballpark. What's killing us, and it's killing all the towns, when I went to the MMIA conference last week, is the property tax issue, of course. It's sky high, but they're not giving anything to local governments, Darling County. We're the bottom of the barrel. And it's statewide, it's even in the schools now. we're coming off of COVID still, where there was all these jobs, all this money that's just kind of filtering through. And like most towns, you want to keep everybody working, so you do a couple of years after. And by that time, you start having to live in reality that you have to get back to what you can live with. And Stephenville is at that point now. Money's tight. I keep saying it because it is. And the council knows, we had a budget workshop last time that went on till 9 o'clock. And we still didn't get through it, and we still have some cuts to make. So it's either gonna be cuts for stuff that we want, it's gonna have to go away, it's just gonna have to be needs, or we're gonna have to start cutting people, and we don't wanna do that. So, with that, can I get a motion? Councilmember Barker.
I make a motion for approval of resolution number 553, a resolution establishing mill levies for the town of Stevensville, Montana fiscal year 2024 to 2025.
We have a motion by Councilmember Barker, do we have a second? Councilmember Brown.
Second.
You second, okay. We have a motion, we have a second. Do we have a discussion from the council on the minutes?
It's basically, we do it or we don't get it.
Yeah, pretty much. Any discussion from the public on the minutes?
I have just a question. It seems to me that over the years, houses for single families and the working guy were affordable to our employees. And in the last 2 years, these prices have gone crazy and the working guy he's screwed. I don't know how a working guy can afford a house right now. But the difference between the prices like the 300, 350, now a house that behind us sold for $700,000, it should have been a $350,000 house at tops. But the city of Stevensville, you guys don't get any off of that increase
No.
in the taxes?
The problem they're having is every time, when we do our mills, every year, it's a slow, steady climb. It doesn't raise that much, but never goes down, of course, but it doesn't jump up and, it's just a slow, steady going up. And the problem is we got inflation up here the last 2 years. So when everything else is going up, as you all know, water rates and everything else, utilities, everything's up. We're down here, so we're climbing that hill, and everything's up here above us. Well, it's pretty hard to get up there when you're not getting that extra money, so we have to be creative.
Where do the taxes off that extra increase go? I mean, the state taxes the house when it's sold.
Robert said the majority of our property taxes are going to the schools. If you look at your tax statements, you'll see that.
Which is a declining, it seems like a declining attendance of those schools too, where a lot of them are no longer.
We're slowly starving, and I'll say it now. Once we get the budget passed, Janelle and I and the staff are gonna start putting together. We're gonna put it out there next year and see what the public thinks. We're gonna have numerous public hearings, town halls. We need to get a small safety levy for our police and fire department, which will free up money to do other things for our parks, for our pool. Because as Leslie knows, she goes around her and Nancy Lowell, and thanks to them, they saved our pool this year. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have wanted to. They put hot water heaters in, they helped pay for the cover. And that's what we're down to now in the town, and thank God bless them for doing that. But that's where we're at. I hate to be dire, but I gotta be straight with you. It's my job.
And I feel, obviously, we hear from the citizens of Stevensville, where's our money going and why are we not seeing it? We're seeing it, but it's paying everything else that we need to pay to keep everything atop. We've got obviously the the law or the bonds that are out there, we're paying on those bonds, we're paying on, I mean, it's everything. It's not that we're not trying to be very frugal with our money, because we are. I mean, it's really hard.
It is really hard. But that's what, all the public can do is tell us no. You know, just a rough estimate right now, but Janelle and I are saying for like $12 or $13 a month. That would supply a 4-man police force for quite a while. That would give equipment, maybe a good used fire truck for Jeff. You know, but at the rate we're going now, we're just treading water at the bottom. And it's no fault of past administrations or anything, it's just, it is what it is, and we gotta face it head on, just like the water rates. Yeah, that had been taken care of for a lot of years, but here we are. But when reality hits us, it hits us, so, but we'll get there. But that's the plan going forward. Next summer, we plan to bring that before a vote before the town. I don't think it's ever been done before, has it, Jim? All you guys can do is tell us no. But you're gonna get the services you deserve down the road too, which would be limited services. Because as everything keeps going up, and your levy's over here, take simple math to figure out what's going on. Yes,
I got another question. I didn't know the pool needed help. I didn't know it needed a cover. I didn't know it needed water heaters. Is there a way to put out to the public? My kids learn to swim in that pool. And I think it's a very good asset for this town to have that pool. If I had known, you know, they needed help with a cover or water heater, I would have thrown some money at that. And I think there are a lot of other people in town that would throw money at things like that. If we only knew. I didn't know it was struggling.
We raised the majority of the money during Creamy Picnic weekend. Not this year, but last year, we raised over $11,000 to help the pool out. And we told them we would hang on to it until they needed it, and then they could give us the bill, you know, the bills, and we would pay those for them. So as of right now, we still have $1,000
$1,400.60.
left.
Show up.
And, you know, anybody can contribute to it now. I mean, if they want to contribute to it, that's great. We'll take your money.
Who do we contribute to? What's it
Save
called?
our pool.
And it has been a discussion. It's something that comes up every single budget season. We talk about it all the time, what we need to do for the town, for our pool, what we need to do here. Parks and Recs is part of that as well, our parks, so they're well aware. It's been an ongoing, Public Works, I mean, it's been an ongoing thing, and I have seen stuff in the paper. It was a big article in there with Save the Pool that the Bitter Star had. So it's out there, it's just how it's getting relayed to the public.
We tried putting it on Facebook and that type of stuff, and then, but we're not a 501c3.
But you did go through the state.
Right, and we did go through the state, but we're not, the donations are not tax deductible. That's one of the problems. And I don't want to go to that much work at my age to do all that stuff. So we're looking for somebody younger to take it over and, you know.
But thank God we had a pool for the kids to swim in this year.
Yeah.
You know, we wouldn't have had it. And I learned to swim there, well, our kids learned to swim there, and I'm sure probably everybody else here in this room, their kids learned to swim there. So, I mean, it was just something that we thought up and said, hey, could we just go ahead and ask people for money, you know? And we went to class reunions and asked them
Oh, that's
for
a good
money
idea.
because they learned to swim there too, and we raised money.
Pat, you know, prime example, I mean, look at the council, you look at the behind the scenes brains of the town, the two papers here. This is what you print about. This is what you brag about. This is what you say. This town helping one another. Not crap if people want to do other things, and we've talked about that. But this here and these here, you think they get thousands of dollars a month for this garbage? Next thing, somebody's gonna come in like the guy up there earlier in the podium and say, I want you guys to forfeit all of your money monthly to help with the water, or help with this, or help with that. The water payment's more than these folks pay. They put up with so much crap, as well as the two ladies at the office. And I know this is something you wanna say, Jim, but I know you get emotional, okay? But the thing is this is what Stevensville is about. Print that, please. Thank you, guys.
And I'll also add one more thing to that. The guy that got up, Scotty, earlier, if he would have stuck around, I would have answered his question during this discussion. We get an audit every year. They're available. I gave each and every council member an audit. So I don't understand why Scotty couldn't just go to a council member or come to town hall and say, I'd like to see the paperwork on the audits. I mentioned it at the water meeting that night about the audits. But we keep going around that the town is basically screwing the public. I'll never understand that. I don't get it. We're out just to get you, just so we can make a bunch of water rating money. We're the same boat you guys are. We gotta pay the same rates. We live in town. So please, do your homework, people, before you come up to the podium and try to make us look foolish. Because you want to make yourself look foolish. You really do. If he was here, I would have told him that. It kind of it grovels me when people get up there that don't do their homework. And I don't know if somebody sent them or he just had a brain, whatever. But to get up there and put that stuff out there in public, hoping it'll get to the paper.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about now. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. And I'm tired of it.
The comments, not you guys' paper.
And with that, can I take the vote?
There was, I think Mr. Chadwick had one question back there before. You're not, no?
I did have a comment.
There was somebody back there.
I'm pretty new to town here. My wife and I moved here in December. We go to the Bigger Family Church in town here, and there's a lot of guys there that I think would like to volunteer their services. I know Pastor Ken took a walk to the park here. Just looking for stuff that we could volunteer our time to fix.
Get me afterward, after this. Come.
Okay.
I got a whole list for you.
You have a list? Oh, for the park?
Yeah. Clean up, park,
But beyond that, like how can I find out where the town needs help for people to volunteer their time?
Right here.
There is one.
Right
Meet
here.
with your mayor. Meet with the mayor, visit with town hall.
Okay. It's not the tin can, it's the mayor's office.
All sorts of stuff. Cool, thank
Any
you.
any other questions? On the mills. Got a little off on that, but I got it. Go ahead.
I'm just curious, is there a community bulletin board that people can visit and see what kinds of issues, what kind of needs there are that's going on in the community that they can help with? And then going to the, town center or going and meet with Janelle or whoever and, give their name to whoever it is that they need to talk to.
Just come in and give it to Janelle, and Janelle will give it to me. We can set up a meeting. This is great. This is what we need. We need participation from the public to help us do a lot of things. We've missed that for years. We can't even get people to get on our boards. So this is a breath of fresh air. Thank you all for raising your hands and stepping up. That's what we need. So. Anything else? Okay, now Janelle, would you take?
For resolution number 553, a resolution establishing our mill levies. Councilmember Brown. Aye. Councilmember Barker.
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson.
Aye.
And Councilmember Smith.
All right.
Motion passes 4-0. Thank you. Item number 7, board reports. I think we had an airport meeting.
I really don't have a report.
Okay. That's okay. Town council comments. Councilmember Brown.
Since it was brought up at tonight's meeting, I was on the phone with Mayor Michelson last night, I believe, and I asked him why we couldn't start a program kind of like what they have for the highway departments. Adopt a highway, instead of that, adopt a park. Can we get some people out there to help pick up the trash in our parks? Do it maybe every other week or something. Is there groups out there that are willing to donate their time to walk our parks and pick up the trash? I walk my dogs in a park at the end of our street. I'm continuously picking up the trash all the time. And unfortunately, there's several people that don't pick up after their dogs, but when I'm picking up after my dogs, I try to pick up a little extra. So, hopefully, maybe people out there, maybe we can do something like adopt a park and organizations for volunteering time or whatever. I know it's a big thing in the corporate world for their employees to volunteer time. It would be a good way for some of the local corporations and people, even a church group, a men's group, a women's group, whatever, maybe a youth group, to just spend that little extra time to try to keep our parks picked up a little bit. Thank you.
Councilmember Parker.
I just want to say thank you to Colette, who I believe was out today mowing along the pathway. She was out there weeding in the heat of the day, and it looks amazing. So I want to just let people know that, hey, we do have people that get out there and they don't just sit here at town hall. We do have some amazing employees.
She goes.
She's, I believe that's her own mower that she uses.
Yep.
As along with the weed eater, so, yeah, thank you to Colette.
You bet. Any other council comments? Mr. Smith.
Yes, I have a prepared statement. Matter of correction. The special town council meeting held on August 6, 2024, 6 p.m. at the Stevensville Fire Station was lawfully structured, and the town clerk did indeed comply with the necessary steps to inform the public of the meeting. The legality of the public hearing or the meeting itself was never in question. I will admit that in my advancing years with a body more frail and cognitive abilities in age-related decline as well, I did indeed misspeak that the meeting was illegal. I did, however, correct that misstatement and further stated that, in fact, there was a procedural error and that 48 hours were needed before the vote could be taken. This was ignored by the mayor, whose duty it is to preside over the meeting. The abstract. Regarding discussion decision resolution 549 and 550, the Stevensville Town Council vote taken that evening on August 6th was out of order and subsequently made null and void by council actions in violation of 1 Montana Constitution, the state law, the Attorney General's opinion, and our own town council rules. Justification to follow. First, definitions of 2 words. First word is agency, meaning any board, bureau, commission, department, authority, or officer of the state or local government authorized by law to make rules, determine contested cases, or enter into contracts. Second word is revise or revise. According to Black's Law Dictionary, revise means to re-examine, to review something for the purpose of improving it, to amend it, to correct it, or rearrange it. Legislation and town council rules are established for the constitutional right of the public to participate and for the public's constitutional right to know, as follows. The Constitution of Montana, Article 2, Declaration of Rights, Section 8, right of participation. The public has the right to expect governmental agencies to afford such reasonable opportunity for citizens' participation in the operation of its agencies prior to the final decision as may be provided by law. The right to know, Section 9. No person shall be deprived of the right to examine documents or to observe the deliberations of all public bodies or agencies of state government, and its subdivisions, except in cases which the demand for individual privacy clearly merits public disclosure. Montana Code Annotated 2-3-103, public participation. The governor is to ensure guidelines adopted. Section A, each agency shall develop procedures, such as, for here, the adoption of the Stevensville Town Council rules. Adopt procedures for permitting and encouraging the public to participate in agency decisions that are of significant interest to the public. The procedures must ensure adequate notice and assist public participation before final agency action is taken that is of significant interest to the public, MCA 2-3-111 entitled Opportunity to Submit Views, Public Hearing. Procedures for assisting public participation must include a method of affording interested persons reasonable opportunity to submit data, views, arguments, orally or in written form prior to making final decisions that the significant interest to that public. I submit to this body and for public record that the vote taken at the special meeting of August 6th on resolutions 549, 550 were indeed in violation of state constitutional declaration of rights, due in fact to the public was not afforded the opportunity to submit data or present arguments to the mayor in revised agenda in written form. Attorney General's opinion. It should be noted at this juncture, and this taken from the Attorney General's website, the opinions of the Attorney General carry the weight of law unless they are overturned by a court or the legislature changes the law or laws involved. Regular participation and the right to know, Attorney General Opinion 4713. It states the following: right of participation. The public has the right to expect governmental agencies to afford such reasonable opportunity for citizens' participation in the operation of agencies prior to the final decision as may be provided by law. The required policies and procedures must include a method affording interested persons reasonable opportunity to submit data, views, or arguments, orally or in written form, prior to making that final decision that is significant to the interest of the public. Quoting MCA 23-111. Attorney General Opinion number 5217. A Mr. Brent Brooks, City Attorney for Billings, Montana, submitted the following question to the Attorney General. Can an item be added to the City Council agenda at the time of the meeting and acted upon at the same meeting? The Attorney General opinion was as follows. The procedures for assisting public participation must include a method of affording interested persons reasonable opportunity to submit data, views, or arguments orally or in written form prior to making a final decision that is significant interest to the public. Quoting MCA 23111. As noted, adequate notice is required by Montana Code Annotated 23-103. Thus, if an issue of significant interest is discussed in the public comment period and the council wishes to take action on that issue, the council must place the matter on the agenda for a subsequent meeting and provide adequate notice. Through this procedure, the public's right to participate will be protected. This brings us now to the Stevensville Town Council rules as amended March 23rd, 2023. Council members Michelson, Barker, Brown, and Lowe in voting attendance, and Mayor Gibson presiding. Part 4, Untitled Agenda, Section 1, the final bullet point states the following. The mayor may elect to revise the agenda by adding an item for consideration, provided the revised agenda shall be posted and distributed no less than 48 hours before the meeting. Points of fact. The agenda of August 6th was indeed revised with a correction of proposed figures a few hours before the meeting at 6 p.m. The council or the public was not given any notification of such revision. The vote taken August 6th to increase the water and sewer rates is thus null and void, as it is in violation of state constitution, state law, the Attorney General's opinion, and town council rules of governance. Therefore, I call on the mayor and this council to declare the vote of August 6th null and void, and for the mayor to place resolution number 549 and 550 back on the agenda for a subsequent meeting as per Attorney General's opinion, so that they can be acted on in a legitimate manner. Further, in the 7 days prior to that special meeting, the figures for the rate increases were revised 3 times. Thus, I also stipulate that the accounting figures derived from Robert Underwood and Bobby Schuler of Montana Rural Water be presented to this council for examination, plus an income and expenditure accounting for the water and sewer rates, the action for the past 5 years presented to the council as well. The Stevensville Town Council cannot be expected to properly address such an issue of public interest which affects the daily lives of its citizens without such background information in hand. I conclude with this final statement. The Stevensville Town Council are public servants. We're servants of the people and not public steamrollers. This, unfortunately, was the perception of the overwhelming majority of the 50-plus citizens in attendance on that evening of August 6th. We certainly can do better in our representation. Thank you.
Any other town council comments? Okay, I'll move to the executive report. Part 4, agenda, section 1 of the town council rules. I'll read it in full. All reports, communications, ordinances, resolutions, contract documents, or other matters to be submitted to the council shall be submitted by 12 o'clock noon on the Wednesday immediately preceding the Thursday agenda. Publishing deadline to the town clerk. If the agenda item is associated with a public notice 3 weeks prior to the proposed meeting, time is needed for sufficient publication times in the local newspaper, Bitterroot Star. The late submission deed necessary by the mayor shall be delivered to the town clerk with a list of matters according to the order of business. Copies of submission and list shall be provided to each member of the council no later than 5 p.m. on the Thursday preceding the council meeting. Keep in mind, this is a regular scheduled meeting, not a special meeting. All agenda items to be considered by the council shall be submitted via forms available from the town council clerk or on the town website. The mayor, with the assistance of the town clerk, shall prepare all council agendas and agenda packets. In addition to the mayor, any one council member may submit an item of business for consideration by the council backing up documentation. I can go down and down, but there is nothing in Part 4 agenda, section 1 that says a 48-hour notice. I don't know where you got that. It's not in your council rule.
It certainly is.
You can read it right here. It's word for word.
I have, it's on the website.
Anyway, I'm looking at the website. Says special meetings are in accordance with the NCAA laws. Okay, enough of that. I'll get down to the swimming pool will be closed for the season. Splash pad closes this Saturday. Police Chief John Bull is in his 2-week training brush-up course at Helena. Officer Chris Pierce is in Helena for his 12-week academy training. I attended the MMIA board meeting last week and went well and very informative. I learned that they pay close attention to every town's business as far as liability and insurance. We have a thing going on now. I can't really discuss it because it's in the background, but it could affect our town's workman's comp situation. And when I go to West Yellowstone in October, we can decide whether we're going to vote on it or whatever. But it's gonna be a big thing. It affects not just us, it's gonna affect all the towns statewide. So that's another thing coming down. I will say they were very impressed with Stevensville. They're glad that, as they said, we're back in the fold. And what helped us is, as the council knows, we did a lot of policies this year, personnel policy, job descriptions, purchasing policy, all that, drug and alcohol policy. And most of those, we went to the MMIA, which is our liability insurance for guidance. And they took note of that, so they thanked us for using them as a valuable resource, because it works both ways. Because if it was a liability issue to come forward and they backed us on it, they would use their attorney, their insurance instead of ours. So that would help us down the road. So that's a good deal. I spent Tuesday, I also found out that all the tree damage that we got this year for the storms, we can put in a property damage claim on that. I did not know that, because there are trees. Makes sense. So I went around Tuesday, I walked every street in town, I took pictures of all the damaged trees I could think of on all the streets, gave them to Gina. Gina's starting a property claim on that. There's always been a couple of instances where the trees fell down on cars around the streets. And so we're working on that. I spent Tuesday taking pictures of all the damaged trees. I said that, oh, there's $1,000 deductible for all the claims. So that's a good thing. He said Missoula's got $1.5 million worth of claims just on their trees alone already. So, and they're not even done yet. We're gonna try to put in all the overtime and everything that our workers use for going around picking up all the brush and everything on all the streets. See if we can't get compensated on that. I'd like to have another budget workshop. Robert's just before the meeting tonight, he wanted to know if the council would be up for another budget workshop next Thursday. We can get that finalized. That won't work for you?
I'm gonna be out of town.
Okay. Well, think of another time then.
I mean,
When are you leaving?
right after I get off work on Thursday.
Thursday?
Mhm.
Could we do it like maybe Tuesday? Robert, can we come
Or Wednesday?
in? Okay, Wednesday.
Wednesday will not work for Robert.
Oh, okay.
The 20th, I think you said Tuesday or Thursday.
Tuesday or Thursday.
Pick a time.
Okay, Tuesday,
Sure, what time?
5:30?
5:30? Okay, I'll be coming in right after work then.
Tuesday
The
is
27th.
Thank you.
And last but not least, I gave you guys a resignation letter and I would like to read it in public. To the mayor and town council, I am giving my 2 weeks notice for the airport manager's position. I have tried to fix the issues at the Stephenville Airport for over a year. I have come to realize that no matter what I do, nothing is going to get done. It is impossible to work with the airport board. When I first came on, this airport faced huge financial problems, courtesy car problems, equipment problems, lease problems, fuel problems. I have worked tirelessly to fix these issues. However, every time I make progress fixing an issue, the board or the town interferes. The board is the biggest hindrance to the airport. The second is the separation the town has created. The town needs to realize that they own and are responsible for the upkeep of this airport within the federal grant assurances and sponsor insurances. For too long, I have heard excuses that the airport only gets what money it brings in forms of leases and the TED. Well, that is 100% incorrect. Recently, I have fixed the courtesy car issue. We all heard about that from the board. Where is our car? Well, I fixed it, and then at the next meeting, I get pushed back from one board member saying, I don't think we need that now. He was the loudest one complaining about not having one. All I heard from going back to when was I wasn't even on the board or the manager was complaints about the mower. Once again, I found a way to fix that problem, and now the board doesn't want it. I have cut so much money out of the airport's budget to make things work. I have invested a lot of my own money into fixing things at the airport, only to receive criticism from board members. My response to them is simple. If you don't like it, you don't think it is getting done fast enough, than you open your bank account and fix a problem like I did. We had a windsock get torn up in the windstorm. I had one ordered from Montana Board of Aeronautics. Well, that didn't show up fast enough, so one individual decided to take it on himself and put up an orange irrigation tarp and put it up. I was notified about this after the fact. I could go on and on about issues, and the stress and aggravation are not worth the little money that comes from here. I have better things to do with my time. The last cow meeting was a joke. We sat there until 9 p.m. continuing to go over what is essentially a rough draft of a budget that has numerous errors in it. If this town does not fix itself quick, fast, and in a hurry, it is in for serious trouble and not going to be part of it anymore. I would just like to add a little bit that I started on the town council in 2016. I was a rookie, and back then all rookies went to the airport board. That's just how it worked. I didn't know. I was on 4 different boards my first year, so I didn't know that. But by the middle of 17, there was issues with the board then. It doesn't matter, it's gone. The problem I have is the airport board has gone through 6 or 7 airport managers in 9 years.
11. 11.
11 airport managers? Okay, 11 airport managers in 9 years. So when is the airport board going to look at itself and maybe think that maybe it's part of their problem too? Because all I've ever heard, and we've heard since we've been on council, you're taking our money, you're taking this, you're not doing that, you're not helping us out. Come on, people. We gotta make it work. You're a part of us. Yes, there is separation here. It's separation from the past. It's separation, part of it now. We had a great airport manager. Will was dedicated. He came in all the time. He discussed budgets with Gina, Robert, and I. He discussed ideas. He really worked tirelessly to do his part on the airport board. But, again, the airport board, somehow, some reason, and I think it's a separation thing up there and down here. Yes, you're part of the town, but you're not. I get it. You're 8 miles away or whatever, or 6 miles away. You're not right here in town. Oh, you don't bring people down here for business. I hear all this and other things. I don't have an answer anymore. I really don't. We're gonna advertise for another airport manager. Yes, we'll put one on there. I don't know if it'll be the same rate of pay or not. We'll have to look at that in the budget. But something's gotta be done, you guys. It isn't just your fault either. It's both ways. Like he said, the town is involved too. We're at fault too. And being the mayor, it falls on me. I have to take the brunt issue whether I think it's right or not. It still falls on my shoulders. We have to have an airport manager. So I would hope that you guys, when you guys meet together for your coffee, you start putting your heads together and think, what can we do to make this place work within a budget? Because the budget is so tight. And thank God we got that little bit of it. Fire money, that saved the budget for 1 more year. But after that, I don't know. It's gonna be tough. It's just the way it works. With that, can I entertain a motion to adjourn? Councilmember Brown.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Yes.